Welcome, everyone, to John and Dylan Online, a podcast where two dirty, nasty comedian boys talk about moments in internet history. Ladies and gentlemen, this week, my co host of the show is going to introduce the topic.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know nothing of this topic except for we are doing it because I am very tired from doing the Edinburgh Festival. So Dylan has done all the research into bronies.
Oh, and Pegasisters. That's what the girls call themselves.
Oh, I didn't even know that. We're already laughing and learning. I did a BuzzFeed quiz and I was Pinky. You're
Yes,
looking
I sent John a BuzzFeed quiz, and a lot of them questions in that brony quiz are a lot of like stuff that I don't feel highly like. It's like, do you think you're more beautiful, confident, smart, or strong? And I was like, where's the fifth one where it's like soggy? I don't know.
completely agree with you. The entire quiz, I was like, where's the one where it's like, are you a good person? B, a great person? C, a cool dude? D, rad pal? And I was like, where's E? Kind of okay, but not that great of a friend. That's me. You know what I'm saying?
Distant and worrying.
Yeah. Alone by choice.
But I will say this as two of the baldest, of the
Woo.
most middle-aged professional
Woo.
wrestling fans you will ever see in your horny little lives. It is fun to go into a fandom that is like relentlessly and disgustingly optimistic. Like I will say, and this is via a Brony documentary I watched. Jennifer Nicholson says 30% of Bronies don't jack off to the characters. And she said, and even that is generous.
Oh
So
boy.
that's good.
I have a couple of reactions to what you just said. Here's the first one. If you are not turning on each other, then it's not a fandom. I got
Mm-hmm.
newsflash, bronies. I look down upon you. Why don't you have one person dressed like a horse that literally just goes to places that are doing good things and then destroying them? That's what pro wrestling's all about. Oh, good. They have this guy. You know what he is? An albatross. Here's second thing I want to say. The fact that 30% are not jacking off to the characters, those are the ones I'd be the most concerned about. What are you doing here? I just like to know what else is. Yeah,
I
kill
just
this.
like friendship.
Yeah. I like two things: the colorful rainbow, and also when people are in costume in the daytime. Okay, well, you probably have a room in your house that only you have the key to. It's not a lock from me.
Yeah, everyone. There's a lot of bronies, I'm sure, that have a version of the Bat Cave, but it's just a bunch of parts of dead horses they fuck.
Okay, can you explain to me what a brony is? I was literally
It's a
making
bro who likes ponies, bitch.
it. It was I was mentioning this to my girlfriend, not to brag, and that sort of dawned on: is bronies a thing, or is it one of those things that was just accelerated by the internet in the 2000s? In that, like, was it a trend, or was it a subject, was it a plot line on Entourage? You know what I'm saying?
I'm so excited to tell you how bronies started.
Please, Dylan, let me
John, John, all right.
under your story.
Quickly, don't take any time, but just quickly, top of your head, how do you think bronies started? How do you think the fandom started? Not the television show, but the fandom.
All right, if I have to know anything about the internet, I'm gonna go. This started off as a
It's
man,
yeah.
man who looks like, or in fact is a pedophile,
Oh,
start
okay.
some sort of multi-level marketing scam, and here we are.
No, no, but okay, that was one of the internet things that happens. What you're looking for is the main internet thing that happens, which is 4chan people enjoying it ironically, and then it
God
turns
damn it.
out this is actually pretty good. And
God.
then people being like, no, it's a kid's show, you guys are fucking losers, and then that motivating them to post so many ponies and so many images of My Little Pony that literally posting an image of a pony to 4chan, the message board that came up that brought Nazis back like they were fucking bell bottoms, were banned from 4chan, and they had to create a website called Equestria Daily.
I'm going to say this right now. The idea that 4chan was defeated by bronies, which is like, that's
Literally defeated by happiness. Literally,
what
it's just a bunch of people who are like, yeah, I like wearing these, and it makes me feel good. Get the fuck off my goddamn website.
Sometimes I draw a little glittery star on my face and it just makes me realize everything's going to be okay. This is where we post videos of people shitting on each other and attack Scientology. Get out of here with what's wrong with your face? What's that? Why are your lips upturned in the corners? What are you, the Joker? This is the person's the
Yeah.
Joker.
Hey, why don't you take down the video of a nice time you're having riding a horse or something and replace it with a domestic dispute where the guy wins, okay?
Oh my God. Yeah, that is 4chan right there. Hey, could you
The
please
guy convinces the cops to leave. That's what we want.
Hey, can you please take down this poster of a cat on a wire and it says hang in there? And can you replace it with just a rolling video of a person who being beat to death in a prison, and then you see a caption and it finds out the person never did the crime they were accused of. They were
Yeah.
killed. That's what I want.
Yeah, here's what 4chan was meant for. Just
Shut up. Let me
on
just say this.
okay.
Shut up. The idea that everything comes back to 4chan liking it or hating it ironically, and then it just becomes culture is why the world, everything really begins with the word. Like that's what everything begins with now, because everything's root is a message board in the 2000s that started off where people could jack off to anime and then became the cultural engine of our time. What a nightmare.
Well, it's kind of like, you ever go to a party? Have you ever had the thing? I did this, so I had to do this a while ago. Here's what the internet is you start out looking at the internet and then you go to work and come back and the same people who were using the internet in the morning are still talking and it's fucking weird now. It's like one time I went to a party and then I had to do a gig and then I came back and everyone on the party was fucking annihilated and I was like, well, I can't be at this party. That's what the internet is now, and that's what 4chan is, where it's like, look what people on the internet are saying. It's like, yeah, these people, you shouldn't don't
Yeah,
like, if you go into a comment section, I would like to say I don't know anyone that's commented on a YouTube video anything genuine other than a referral, other than like sharing it. I I know people who have probably done that, but I don't think anyone who's like has ever been like, this was poorly thought out. Like, I don't know anyone who's done that.
oh yeah, like I definitely, yeah, completely. What a great point. I don't know anyone
Like,
that,
as soon as you comment on a YouTube video something genuine and negative, they should just be like, oh, you're out.
yeah,
Your vote's done now.
you need 3 months. You need 3 months off the internet. That's a great way. Yeah, as soon as
No,
you
your
live
vote. You don't get to vote in the next presidential cycle.
in the next
Or
presidential
no,
cycle,
you don't. Nope, you don't vote for prime minister. You don't vote for president. Just once. It's like jail. It's soft jail.
I know, but I think it also should escalate. Which is if you do it three
Should
times,
escalate. Okay.
you lose your driver's license. Why is
The
that guy?
fact that you think these people have driver's license is very optimistic.
Okay, then this you lose it if you don't have a driver's license. You have to get a driver's license, and then we take it away from you.
You have to get a driver's license.
You have to. It's
Actually,
either
no, that would be the good one. You have to get a driver's license then.
no. But if you have a driver's license, you have to get a big truck's license. What? Yeah, you just have to learn how to drive a truck
Oh
now.
yeah, you gotta be a trucker. That would be actually that's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, some of them already are. Hi-oh, hi-oh, hi.
You think people are driver? It's just a guy on the highway driving with just his knees, being like, "Yeah, My Little Ponies for queers," and it's keep driving.
Absolutely do think that. I absolutely do.
Oh, that's another really funny part about it is a lot of big once. So, all right, we're gonna start where we should start. My Little Pony
Right.
originated in 1981, made by Hasbro. One of the first Hasbro toys that weren't aimed towards boys. Remember the GI Joe? They have such success with GI Joe that they make My Little first. If or sorry, the first one was called My Pretty Pony. It was too big. Then they made smaller ones called My Little Pony. This is called G1 by Collectors. It was a big hit and led to Hasbro doing what had been successful for GI Joe, which was making a television series in 1984. Now, here's the other thing that's very interesting to note about this. The only reason that GI Joe, Ninja Turtles, and My Little Pony shows like this He-Man are allowed to happen is because basically Ronald Reagan changes a weird law that says you're not allowed to have a television show that's just based around selling a toy, which is all that it literally was a infomercial for the toys, and then they'd advertise the toys during the commercial break.
It is Ronald Reagan. The more you look into what he did, it's like, oh my God, history's greatest monster, but also really a boon to our childhood, which is he basically, so it's like before that, you're like, well, you have to tell people when they're being advertised to. You can't turn everything into a marketing opportunity. Also, you have to provide truth in the news by law. If you don't do that, that's bad. And Ronald Reagan was like, let me tell you two things. One, you say whatever the fuck you want on the news. You say whatever the fuck you want. Two, everything is a fucking ad. This is
Yeah.
an ad right now. I'm selling you this tie. I don't even own this chair. You can. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like anytime you scratch the surface of Ronald Reagan, it's sort of like Bill Clinton, where it's like you scratch the surface. It's like the inverse Bill Clinton, where Bill Clinton, it always seems like it's a good idea. And then it's like, oh, and then at the end of that, welfare is the fault of the poor people. And you're like, what the fuck? And then Ronald Reagan, it's always like, oh, that sounds bad. It's like, oh, it's so much worse. Ronald Reagan just changed some broadcasting regulations and made it so that only 3 people would ever own TV stations, and all they would do is create propaganda. Go fuck yourself.
I will say this. It sucks to come out to say mean things about the Clintons when because everyone else is like takes it a step further. Here's something great about Bill Clinton from his perspective. Not okay. Here's let me say this very slowly. Here's
Go ahead.
something great that worked out in very well in Bill Clinton's favor. All you hear about Bill Clinton is like his fucking wife's a lizard woman, the Monica Lewinsky thing, right? Those are the things you hear about Bill Clinton. You don't hear about the rapes. You know what I mean? Where it's like he's been like formally charged with rape many times, and everyone was like, "Yeah, but let's talk about the time the one consensual thing he did, like the one consent thing." That's what everyone talks about.
It's literally what it is. Is the Clintons have been so smeared with
This one's
conspiracy.
about My Little Pony, anyway.
I'm gonna watch me loop back to My Little Pony in this. Is that the Clintons have been so smeared with conspiracy theory shit. Like when you actually attack them on like a true thing, which is like, you guys literally were just basically just worked for banks and like the whole time and just used it to manipulate it so banks made more money. And they were like, yeah, but first let's talk about all these people they killed. And it's like, they didn't kill those people, but they were corporate shills. It's like, yeah, but they're also lizard. They're not lizard lesbian people. It's like, nah, you know what I mean? It's exactly that. In the same way that My Little Pony started as literally this marketing opportunity, and then some trolls did it by accident, and it became a cultural phenomenon that dudes that look like us definitely participate in at a weird ramada by an airport in a city in Canada like Sarnia or a city in America like San Diego.
Well, it is much like pretending that we're better than My Little Pony and Bronies is
Or
a
much
waste of time
worse.
because we're wrestling fans. Where it's like the last My Little Pony convention happens in 2019, and it happens in conjunction with the end of the show, which ran from 2010 to 2019, and that had 10,000 people in it, and everyone's like, "Wow, look how many My Little Pony fans there were," and it's like WrestleMania gets like 80,000 people a year who are just like, at least My Little Pony is like, and at the end of the episode, friendship is good. Whereas wrestling is like, all these drug addicts are hiding the sexual assault man. You know what I mean? It's like this.
Just for the event, you have literally paid for history's greatest monster to manipulate drug addicts and narcissists. Thank you very much. Your cars have been broken into.
Yeah, I guess all wrestling fans and My Little Ponies fans are so like so beta that you can just like a really good way to make money would just be like, hey, give me $10. Like you wouldn't even have to steal it. They would agree to give you $10. Like, yeah, just show up to wrestling and My Little Pony conventions and demand 10. Well, not now, actually, as we'll get into. But anyway, 1982, G1, as I mentioned, they had the
No.
1984 TV series. So this is one of the interesting things. 26 years later, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic debuts. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't think a property, as I guess you could say, has had this much of a rebirth since like 21 Jump Street. Like I didn't know what 21 Jump Street was, and then it was the movie with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill where they were like, "Oh, well, let's just not do what the original did at all." And My Little Pony Friendship is Magic uses the exact same kind of formula as SpongeBob SquarePants did, which was it's TV for kids, but all adults can also enjoy it. And then obviously because the time of the internet, it gets weird.
So basically, what they're doing is they're putting in a joke for the parents, so the parents also enjoy watching it to ensure that they
Yes.
would watching it. But in the case of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, they're putting in a joke so that the dude with, let's be honest, a all elite wrestling level body odor who is in a room, I'm going to assume, with shag pink carpeting, can also go intelligent while watching My
Yes,
Little
My
Pony.
Little Pony Friendship is Magic uses a SpongeBob model, but it's also, yeah, exactly what you're saying. It's like they intended it to be for parents and like a family is watching this, and what happens is men alone watch this. And
Okay.
there's female fans as well. Not that there's not going to be like if you put anything on TV at this time, especially when it's like TV and the internet are one, it's like the move from of smartphones from text to video definitely as a person with children, you can see this happening. It's like if something is on television that is for children, those parents are, in my experience, on their phones, watching something on their phones with the sound off, reading the captions. You know what I mean? Like even the way this happens wouldn't really happen now.
Just can't get past what an accidental win it is for the Hasbro Corporation. Like literally, like how did this property get revived? And literally, I got one word for you: perverts. Like isn't like
Oh yes. Well, I don't want to talk about we'll talk about the perverts in the second half.
okay. Well, as long as we get to it, but I mean, I love that this is how this happened. Is it's literally like, well, we need to sell some of these doll figurines. How are we going to do it? We're going to make a cartoon. That cartoon is going to be watched by some assholes on the internet. They are going to try and make fun of it. They're going to do it wrong. Be able to host conventions that the hotel will be pretty relieved because our people will be very, 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 very clean, if not wearing a giant lion suit.
Yeah, so the fandom adopts the name Bronies, which is obviously bro and pony. Female
Oh,
fans are
fuck.
called Pegasisters.
Go fuck.
And the trend that they
Nope.
try and start is called new sincerity, which is everything so negative. You can totally see how this happens, where it's like everyone's shit posting on 4chan. Someone, to be funny, says, "Hey guys, friendship is magic," keeps on saying it, and then a bunch of people are like literally too sincere for the internet, which
There's
is
a part of me that genuinely believes that the same people that are shit posting, it's all the same people. Like that 4chan is literally just 1,000
yeah.
people. So literally 500 of the people that are like, I hate bronies are also the bronies. And it's just, they're just doing it to do it, baby. Ugh.
Well, it's like at a certain point, and I realized this in my 30s, at a certain point, you got to get up and do something because, like, the idea of people just sitting around and talking all night, it's like no one's that interesting. You got to fucking get up and run around, guys. You can't just sit at a fucking machine staring into it, expecting it to start to entertain you. Like, that's fucked.
Yeah.
I did realize that in my 30s. In my 20s, I was definitely a guy who was like, let's just get some cigarettes and talk about life.
Oh, yeah. Like, why wouldn't we? Dylan, yeah, Dylan has really become a guy who wants to go to a batting cage, and that's less about doing an activity and more because he just wants to hold a weapon.
Oh yeah, draw my wife's face and all the balls. Hell yeah, that's my batting cage. I'm gonna do like, you want us to draw your wife's face on the ball, and then people will be like, no, and I'll be like, answer it again. They'll be like, yes, and then I'll force them to kiss me.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, that's the fast thing. It costs you $5 or one kiss. Well, I don't want to kiss you. Here's $5. Here's the other thing. The kiss is mandatory. I'll take the $5 too.
What? The kiss is mandatory at this
Yeah.
batting?
And you're using a bat that is a My Little Pony thing. Anyway, nobody. Oh, here's another thing. Nobody knows who came up with the word brony.
Oh god damn it. It's like crypto. I Here's the thing with the internet in the 2020s is looking back on the 2010s, you're like, man, the internet was fucked even then. But when you were in it, it was just like it was like, but we don't need to know who comes up with the term brony. We just need to know that it's a plot point on the show How to Make It in America, which was good for the first season, not the second one. See you later.
This is the thing, though, man. If you come up with the word brony,
I
like
people.
you be fucking pissed. It's
You
like
want
we're
to
all anons on 4chan, but please, I did it. Like you just want to have a username, so it's like X underscore lax underscore shitting is fucking the guy who came up with, and then at least that person could be like, that's my username and I can prove it, instead of it like, nope, just some anon did it, and I guarantee that person is like, I came up with the word brony, and everyone's like, please stop standing at this restaurant.
What city do you think the guy who came up with the name Brony lives in? And do you think he uses it to try and get sexual favors. Here's my answer: 100%. The town is, I'm going to say, Toledo, Ohio. He works at an Outback Steakhouse, and he says, "You know, Brony, they're weird. I'm into that though. You want to suck my dick?"
I'm gonna say computer scientist San Francisco or San Francisco backslash whatever militia now.
There's no militias in San Francisco. There's too much money there. They're just like, they just got a bunch of drones in their house.
Well, he fun like this is the other thing is like everything, a bunch of bronies just end up joining. Like a lot of the brony fandom splits off into
No,
yep, make
no,
America great again, bitch.
no way. Really? There's a bunch of MAGA.
Yeah, man.
I have to tell you, I thought
That's
because
crazy that it's like men just aren't men anymore. Here's a picture of me sparkled up.
can I just say this? It is absolutely crazy what's happened to American trade policy, and that is why I am dressed out like a fun pony.
Do you think being a brony though, if you're like 15, like 15, you're born in 1997. If you're 15 in 2002, do you think being a brony is like if there's a picture of someone just like being emo? Isn't that crazy to think there's a president one day and there'll be a picture of them with like a swoop haircut and eyeliner?
But yeah, they're like, yeah, I was into My Chemical Romance. Do you understand? Like,
They won't say that. They'll say MCR, but continue.
oh, fuck yourself. If they say MCR, I'm voting for whoever's the
I didn't
opposite.
have a VCR. I was into MCR.
Guess what? They're not being voted for by me. I run against them. That's right. Spoil the ballot. I'm spoiling the ballot.
There must be that like that'll be our version of like in the 90s when people like Clinton smoked weed, he was a goddamn hippie. We'll be like, I'm not voting for anybody that like the Atreyu.
Yeah, exactly. This motherfucker went to an AFI concert. No way are they prepared to be Prime Minister of Canada. Can I just say this? Let me speak on this. Dylan, I'm about to speak.
Olale. The
I
one Latin man listening just fucking threw his phone out of a fucking moving car. Continue.
This is the presidential election where we see penis photos. I think we're getting Trump's dick.
Oh, hog off?
Yeah, we're getting the hog off of this presidential election for sure. And then it's countdown to emo versus brony presidential election, which I'm going to say I'm putting outside chance next 20 years. British prime minister, next election, we're going to find out which one of them, if any, has ever dressed up like a figure and then been fucked.
You think so?
Yes, I do actually think so. I think Keir Starmer in the UK, I think he has done naughty historical reenactments. Like he dressed up like Stalin, his wife dressed up like Churchill, and they
I will say this, that was a big thing in sports like 5-6 years ago was like Twitter, someone having Twitter when they were like 15. It's like, oh hey, the first overall pick in the NFL draft said the N-word a bunch when it was 14, and everyone was like, yeah, whatever. Like that literally happened so much, everyone's like, whatever.
yeah.
So
Oh my.
that bridge has been crossed in a weird way.
I completely agree with you. It was also the interesting thing because there was sort of in the pandemic, there was a revisit of that. And it was an interesting kind of like, we've already done this with the quarterbacks. We'll be leaving. Like, yeah, they're athletes. Here's what we've now know about athletes: not cool people, not fun, and also not smart. They are really good. Like, what do you like? The only smart one is Charles Barkley, and he's the best. And he's like,
There are a lot of smart athletes.
oh,
Kareem
man,
Abdul-Jabbar is in his 70s and still trying to do sketch comedy off of his website, which is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Abdul-Jabbar is the only guy who lose money investing in tofu. What are you talking about? That guy's a dum dum.
He's a dum dum. Well, he'll be. If I know anything about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you're about to get a very strongly worded essay on KareemAbdul-Jabbar.com. He responds to people in full written letters via his website. It's great. That he writes in like prose. It's amazing. Anyway, here's something I miss definitely about the fact that TV is dying is that every news site, not every news site, but there's a couple great things on YouTube where it's like BBC and ABC report on bronies, where it's like these dads learning about this weird thing. And the ABC one is a lot funnier than the BBC one. The BBC one is like all British things, they kind of make fun of him and then it ends up like heartfelt and like, oh, this is nice. Like the BBC one, which is very good. They play tuba while a guy's talking, which like if you're on a news broadcast and they're playing tuba, you're a fucking loser. They are fucking making you out to be a piece of loser shit.
He's playing the tuba. I assume it's one of the bronies.
No, it's in the background music where he's talking and he's like, oh, I just like my little posing. I was like, burp, 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 burp,
Oh,
burp, burp.
That was
You're a fucking piece of shit. Fuck you.
if that's entered in by the news broadcast, yeah, strap in for this is how it's being and now for something a little light, these fucking losers dressed like assholes.
These floor licking pussies.
Yeah.
You could
Strap.
fucking just take all their money.
I want you to know that my dick does not work, and I yesterday paid to piss on someone, and now here's a group of people that I look down upon. Bronies, fucking roll it.
But if you watch Louis Theroux or anything like that, if you're North American, then you see these and you know how it's being like I will say this, like it's like a lighter touch, the like silliness of the British versus ABC is out and out just the guy reporting it being like, I'm gonna cover this bullshit and none of these people get to look me in the eyes. It's great.
So the British nuance is always kind of like this is how it's always done, which is like that's not how I would do it. And an American is always like, yeah, there's no nuance. It's
Shoes off in my house, except for you. You put yours back on because you're getting the fuck out. I don't like you.
that's right. That's the American.
Dude, this ABC one is amazing. It's a guy. I've never seen a guy bullying someone while just asking them nice questions. He's like, "So wait, you guys dress up like what? Yo, get this shit on fucking TV. This guy fucking the pussy. This guy's a fucking pussy. Huh?"
You also have to remember that these are
I guess
broad.
my questions is, do you want to smell these? Because looks like you're already smelling them. Oh, that's my wife's pussy, bitch.
So
Ever taste pussy?
it was broadcast news in this moment. It's just trying to do anything for views. So they have to talk about internet trends because it's the only thing that's happening. But also they like have to do it in a way that's clickbaity before clickbait because they're literally just acting for people clicking through the channels because that's who's left because no one knows when shows are on anymore, which is why all the tones of these American shows are also like, so if I called you a little bitch and then made you fucking clean the spit I spit onto your face off, would you be my friend? And be like, so just if you're clicking by, you'd be like, what in the world is this? The best, of
Yeah,
course.
it is so funny. I love those things where it's like they'll ask a question like, "So what is a brony?" And then this guy gives like a very genuine answer about it, and you just know off screen the reporter's just giving the finger to him like an inch from his face, like right there, buddy, right fucking. But it is like the whole tone of it is that like very early 2010s, like look what these fucking losers are doing on the nerd machine, and it's like the last where it's like this guy I don't know where this guy is now. Maybe I could look it up, but I guarantee he's fallen for at least one scam.
For sure. The other thing I would say is the best example of how this is done is Howard Stern explains it at the front of his 2020 review. Is be like, oh, 2020 is coming in. How's this piece is going to go? Is they're going to show a bunch of radios in cars? And me just like saying something controversial. Like I'll be like, they'll just wait throughout the entire broadcast until I say something, and they'll be like, welcome to hell with radios, Mr. Hell. And it's just it's exactly what they're looking for at any sort of moment. And also, what's amazing about anyone who would post on 4chan and get wrapped up in the scam of like happiness is happiness absolutely would not see this coming. And you're also correct, Dylan. I'm going to say this: not even fell for, but is in fact still selling NFTs.
Yes, and also this plays into why I thought we'd talk about the perverts in the second half, but this plays into the perverts, which is that both of these are like present bronies as these like harmless nerds, and then they find examples of the bronies where it's like in the ABC one they talk to like a dude who's in the army and like still actively in the army. He's a career guy in the army. And he's like, yeah, I've served my country and I like fucking My Little Pony, so shut the fuck up. And he's a sergeant in the army. So it's like, and he'll lend his face to this cause.
Like, this is the one thing I only get nervous about. I'm fine that he's in the army and I'm fine that he's a brony. I find it weird that he's like, we're the news. Would you like to tell this story to us, the news? And he's like, you're goddamn right, I would.
Well, it's just so brave of them to like just thinking about you have to be pretty comfortable yourself to be like, I'm a brony, I'm gonna go talk to this guy who's 100,000% making fun of me, if not outright. Like, there's probably no pre-interview. It's like just the producer's like, yeah, he's gonna come over and talk to you, and just so you know, he's gonna be like just stepping on your shoes and weird shit like that. He might just take a bunch of stuff you own home and see if you try and stop him.
Here's the thing that you need to know about me. I am a soldier. And I don't care would be if I had the confidence of this soldier
Yeah,
to
man.
care what other people thought of me, I'd be unstoppable. That this guy is literally like, let them fucking talk. Guess what? On Monday, I'll be fixing that fucking tank's fucking cannon tube while wearing the trousers from my little horsey costume. Like that guy, that what a fucking hero that man is right there. He's sitting across from Hugh Downs, the oldest man in the world. So, are you concerned people in your platoon won't trust you? And he just goes and stamps 3 times. You. That's what he says.
That's
That's
good. Ooh, I speak horse. That's actually very good.
Yeah. Oh, did you notice I'm licking my little salt lick? That means that guess what? They fucking love me and I love them as much as I love this salt lick. Fuck you, Hugh. He's like very he
Also,
just
it's a weird misrepresentation to buy via someone who's in the movement to say that only 30% of people aren't perverts, where it's like he's like, look how silly and fun these bronies are. Don't look over there though.
yeah, yeah.
That's the
I
moisturizer room.
I also anyone who's using that statistic, I assume that's just they're like, let me say this. I jack off to these things a lot. If I
Maybe the
have to,
lady.
even still, I'm a lady. I jack off to these things a lot. Let me just do a little math in my head. It's max 30% not doing that based off of the TVs I overhear when I am walking by hotel rooms at our conventions.
It is also like it's its own, what do you say? It's its own there are bands for the time that these conventions were going on for these 9 years, these brony cons were going on that would make their in they were just doing My Little Pony music and they could tour these conventions. There were John, I want to find out who these people were. We may know them because it's a small world. My Little Pony stand-up comedians who would just go around doing stand-up at brony festivals. There were this is the craziest one and maybe the most like emblematic of who is going to these things. There were a series of books online, you can buy them. They're $100 each. Fallout My Little Pony fan fiction where they put the My Little Pony characters into the Fallout universe. So it's like this post-apocalyptic wasteland where it's like friendship is magic. I'll rebuild the society using only friendship. Cigarette in mouth.
I just say, how fucking lucky is the first person who did a Brony convention who literally just looked at this and went, I guarantee a bunch of these people want to meet each other in public. Like, what the fuck? That is
I
a
was gonna say, man, like the fact that you were like, hey, I wrote because these books are fucking long. I wrote 500 pages. What if all the My Little Pony characters were in the Fallout universe? And then someone was like, here's $100. Like, that's the biggest swing. Like, we do stand up, we do podcasts, we know people. We know people who have their living is this. There's a lot of them. We do that because we have a contextualized that person was like, here's this fucking 100 hours. I put it into this. I'm assuming no edits.
oh no, no. It's stream of consciousness, baby.
Oh, buddy, like Kerouac, he's just fucking ripping speed and be like, and then Sparkle fucking picks up a rocket launcher and fucking just eliminates the fucking. I
Yeah,
forget what the gangs of Fallout were called.
yeah. No longer is it New Vegas, it's Pooh Vegas because the giant shit on New Vegas. No idea is bad.
No idea is bad. In caps is a ton of the this word. This page is just no idea is bad. All caps 700 times. Fucking right, man.
Problem, bro. Yeah, 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 yeah.
But the bronies
Oh,
become so like so much a big part of the audience is that much like pro wrestling, the
ooh.
later episodes of the series are literally just made for bronies. And the toys go from like 4 little girls with the hair. You can like the whole point of My Little Pony is combing the hair.
Of course.
The
They
whole
get
point. You don't need to buy. You just buy it. You get new hair. Yeah, they eliminate the hair
oh
because
my god.
the fucking neck beards. I am aware what I look like. The neck beards that buy these fucking toys
What's
are
coming?
pissed that they can't that they're not accurate to the cartoon anymore.
Fuck off.
And then they start making My Little Pony with fucking guns and shit because these guys are afraid of being called gay. Why would you like My Little Pony as a man be open about it, and also be afraid to be called gay.
What a complicated group of people. What an amazing.
Insane.
I'm going to say this right now. The human race is beautiful, and bronies are the evidence. Here's what you need to know about me. I am confident enough to tell you that you gets my bucket dick hard, a cartoon horse that shoots stars and rainbows out of an insignia on its
It is
chest.
truly the best and worst of us. Bronies are truly the best and worst of us. Where it's someone like, I'm married. I've been married for 30 years. I dress up like a pony. I am totally okay with that. And another person was like, just because I answer to Princess Sparkle doesn't mean I'm a sissy boy.
Yeah, I'll tell you what does not prove that. Like it is. This is I couldn't have told you. We are only halfway through this episode. I need coffee. I need perspective. I need understanding.
Let me say this. I don't know how much more, because literally we're just going to look at My
We're
Little
talking about
Pony
the
porn
curse.
in
We're
silence
talking
to
about,
make
buddy.
go,
I'll see
oh,
you.
fuck.
I will see you for 30 minutes of the hottest
Oh,
podcasting.
buddy. This is gonna be hot because fucking here's what I did for you, John, is I made my own fucking Two Girls One Cup with the My Little Pony character. So we'll be on the back end after this.
As good as not watching
Since
long.
I own the copyright, baby, we can show that shit wherever the fuck we want.
Jesus Christ, Dylan got, ladies and
Join our
gentlemen.
Patreon. Two ponies, one cup. Fucking
But yeah, please, we will be launching a Patreon soon. We're launching it as
it's already launched as of this.
already launched. We are launching. It's quote unquote grown up Patreon. You know what that means? All of the content on it will be done by naked us. Everything, all the typing done when we're naked.
Yeah, we're not bronies, we're honies because we hoes and we ponies.
Yeah, that's right. We ride ponies, and it's nothing weird. We just enjoy that as a mode of transport, and also it made it so our name is fun. Woo, ponies.
Goodbye,
See you on the other side for
John. Do you know what clopping is?
don't, and I'm fuck off. What is it?
You know what clopping is.
Don't. I can guess.
When you jack off to My Little Pony porno. MLPP. My Little Pony porn.
Oh, God. Look, okay, have you ever jacked off to cartoon pornography?
No.
I have not. I have not.
And the internet was formed on cartoon pornography. Everyone who's a millennial remembers the first time they laid eyes on fucking Bart fucking Lisa or whatever. It's like entire websites. It's like, finally, I get to draw what Millhouse should be doing.
That ever jacked off the cartoon pornography was specifically Simpsons. He told me it was Bart fucking Marge, and that he has gone to jail for a variety of different things, and I think participated in a murder, and is now does he's now a handyman in my hometown. You know what that's code for?
That is handy.
No,
last thing that's nice that the bronies did was they would recut, since it's a cartoon, they would recut episodes and make entirely new episodes, since it's just like bye bye bye, they're moving up, and then you just get people to and sometimes even the people who were on the television show to voice the characters.
Fuck up.
Isn't that nice? That ends now, John.
Okay, good. I've been waiting for the fucking other shoe to drop, the other horseshoe to cling to the barn floor, and
so and I'm assuming this is the smaller brony conventions, would basically have like legitimate children like the show, so they would show up with their parents during the day, and then it's nighttime, and night times are for clopping. That's when they would swap brony porn they made.
You say this right now. There's nothing.
Yeah.
No sentence more terrifying than nighttime at the convention.
Yeah, any convention, nighttime. Oh yeah.
There's no convention that if you don't say it's nighttime at the convention, it doesn't involve fucking. Like a convention, they're fucking those computers. It's nighttime at the RuPaul's Drag Race convention, they're fucking. It's nighttime at the Brony convention, they're fucking. It's nighttime at the celibate convention, everyone's gone to bed.
Yeah, so obviously, like most of what, like obviously what everyone thinks, it's so funny when it's like, hey, not all bronies are just drawing porn of these like little girls ponies and jacking off to it. Just the vast majority.
Yeah. I want this noted on the record, and I want you to all write it down. 99% is not 100%. Do you have to fucking stand?
Yeah, just like with wrestling fans, it's like, well, I'd say most wrestling fans that I see now at shows are just like, I have a labor job and I'm a nerd. You know what I mean? But bronies, it's like, I guess the aspect of it being cartoon does open it up where it's like, I was at a fucking arts college for a year. I could draw some stuff that makes you really sweat. um, this is my favorite thing. There's like a bunch of posts. Like a lot of people would post pictures of the old My Little Pony art and be like, look how fucking unhot these things are. Isn't this fucking disgusting? When it was a horse, because it was like that was the thing that clicked in for a lot of these fucking cartoon porn people was that like they made the new My Little Pony horses like pretty human like.
You know what that means? They want us to jack off to them.
It's a lot, John.
Oh,
Especially what's like bestiality, and then they would be like, "Oh, you guys are into bestiality." He's like, "I'm not into that old My Little Pony gay shit. I'm into this picture.
yeah.
It's me."
This horse is me, and I am fucking this horse that is me. So if that's weird, then I don't want to be not weird.
Oh man, there's this lady, the lady. So a lot of this information, since it is the internet, and I'm not fucking, I'm not even touching this one. So anyway, even the fact that I went on Equestria Daily, I was like, all right,
Oh,
I gotta fucking shred this computer. I gotta do one anyway. But this Jennifer Nicholson woman who you should watch the documentary that she made, which is just a vlog. It's an hour-long vlog, explains everything about bronies. It's very, very good. She doesn't need art. Like we got fucking, under 1,000 listeners, and she's fucking got like 1.6 million views on like her mid videos. So she doesn't need our thing. But anyway,
she's lucky to have us. You're welcome, Jennifer.
actually, yeah, this boost once she sees that 1.4 million move to if she goes into the deep analytics,
Yeah, 1.4.
1.4 million and two, she's gonna be thanking us. Anyway, so
One
she
guy
goes,
else watched it, and I would like a fucking thank you.
she tells this story about which is just so this is so fucking any fandom where she's like talking about she introduces herself to some guy, then the guy goes, you don't know who I am? And then he turns to the circle and goes, she doesn't know my OC, noob. It's just like no one would ever talk to. Here's the thing that's good about being a wrestling fan. Every wrestling fan, I won't say every, 80% of wrestling fans have a deep shame about it. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like no one would ever say OC or noob. They would just like it's deep. It's deeply bound into you as a wrestling fan where it's like I like fake sports. I should feel shame, and there's
yeah.
like a level of shame in liking wrestling that I think is good. I think there should be that level of shame in anything. Like I'm wearing a baseball shirt right now of another man's name. I shouldn't be wearing another man's name on my
Yeah.
like that's ridiculous.
You know,
But this I should feel shame.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying that like just because you wear fucking horns on your head and think you're a unicorn, you should feel shame. That not about it. But if you're gonna be rude to if you're gonna condescend to someone who also likes the weird thing you like you think at fucking orgies, people are like nice mole. Like that's not how they are. They're just like we're all into a weird thing.
Yeah.
Let's get in the piss pool and suck each other off.
What is interesting is wrestling fans do a different version of this, but every sub community, let's call them that, has a version of the this person isn't in my OC. They probably don't even clop. Wrestling fans have that with I liked him when he was in New Japan. As soon as you that guy is that the wrestling version of that. The orgy guy is the guy who gets there early or late, I would assume. That's my guess for orgy.
Early is yeah, that's the I always hear the thing about late to an orgy. You never hear about the guy who's the first one there. It's like, oh geez, don't
I've
let
never
this guy in for a while.
been to the reason why I did not attend one is I was like, well, I can't like it was a last minute invite, and I, if I'm totally honest, had a show and I could not cancel that late or that close to it. The reason being I have to go to an orgy, and
Yeah. Was
like
that
you can't,
Brandon Burns? No. John
no,
Robinson?
no, neither of those people were involved.
George Zach?
It was George Zag. It was a
George
Zag.
Zach outflyered an orgy.
Exactly, that's right. The reason the orgy did not happen is because George Zach had a solo show to attend, and he fucking fly the shit out of it, baby. You know what that man is? That man's a fucking hustler, and he'll fill his room. Is your room filled? It's not. George Zacks is. Um,
But yeah,
what was
also like at these brony cons, it's like there's pictures of John, are you familiar with the idea of a like drawing a non drawing a child's cartoon character as sexy but with not like, you know what I mean? They just like have a come hither look, and it's like, yo, you should not be selling this clothes to kids. But also, once again, it's like I would feel no way. There's no way any father or I wouldn't say mother going into a BronyCon seeing these men was scared. They were just like, I could beat the shit out of every single one of these people. So I'll just
it?
tell them to not do it. Like I'm also their parent now. You know what I mean? Like you're older than me, but stop that. And they'd be like, okay,
Just
and they
because
just
you had
go
a
away.
certain point into the 2010s, if you're taking your kid to a Brody convention, what the fuck? 2011, I'm allowing it. 2012, totally. 2013, that's a push. 2014, absolutely not. No kids are at any Brownie
It
convention.
peaked. No, it peaked at 2015 because that's when like
Correct. Okay, so
everyone was there.
which means 2014, that's the end of the kids. For it to peak, then it has to go full perv.
Yeah.
The money, as I have said many times, green follows white. You want to make money?
I'm getting on a cup.
On a
Or
fucking
that's our new merch. Green follows white, baby.
if you want to fucking make some money, figure out how to get a group of people that didn't know they could jack off to that.
Hell yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, what do you need to solve every? How do we solve streaming? Before every Netflix show, just two people fucking for a bit. Yep, there you go. Do ever do
Hey,
one?
buddy. What was the first reason you watched Game of Thrones?
I was told a brother and sister were fucking, and I went, "What? Finally, my secret dream realized."
Everyone forgets that about Game of Thrones is that the first everyone's like, what a powerful show. But the real reason that I heard about it was like, yo, these fucking brother and sister fucking this dog. I'm like, that's crazy. Plus, there's jugs. Whoa.
And he was absolutely right. He's like, let me tell you when TV got good, which was the beginning of when people no longer just were needing to jack off to anything and just had porn on the internet. They could be like, okay, TV is actually interesting. But then the problem is
Oh,
that,
that's a very interesting point.
yeah, TV became interesting. But then the thing is that it then became like smart and edgy to just redo that thing. And that the Game of Thrones was like, it's got drama. And also, even when you used to get excited that tits were on TV and people were like, yeah. And it's like, we're doing it's like, fuck yeah, this show's got everything.
Check these yabos. That was the show.
These yabos are involved in drama.
But I think people do forget that was like there was entire movies that was like it's got a $50 million budget. What's the premise? Jennifer Love Hewitt, tight shirt. You got all my money, baby.
Wild Things is literally, yo, these fucking women kiss, and one of them shows her fucking tits.
Yo,
See you at the movie theater, and
sought after jugs though.
oh, they're fucking.
You know what I mean?
Dylan, I've seen you adjust your glasses. I certainly know what you mean.
We got to do an episode on Mr. Skin. That guy's fucking pissed.
Mr.
He's got
Skin,
this big list of who has their tits out. He's like, but there's so many. How come no one's paying attention anymore? So if you don't know, Mr. Skin was like an online database of like who showed their jugs. It was good.
it's so much deeper than that. It's a database of every movie where you can see nudity, where in the movie, and for how.
Oh yeah, because there was some. I remember there was like some weird ones where it was like this person, and it was like they're nude, and they're like student film side of Shaft. It's like okay, whatever.
Also, you have to remember, it was a guy who did this, and he made his side money at first just doing an email list, meaning he was like, "Yeah, I just
Oh
told me
yeah.
if they wanted to see naked people in a movie, I already knew where all of that was." And you're just like, "Oh, okay." And there's some Howard Stern interview with him and his wife, and you've never heard a woman more just sort of like, "I really should have thought through what I was agreeing to when I married this fucking weirdo."
There's definitely like oh, I married him. He makes money off of this. Too much money that I can't be like stop this. I just have to accept
I
it.
guarantee this, by the way, that they are divorced by the year 2016. There was no way the bottom didn't fall out of that, and there was no way that she is now gone. Also, I have no evidence of this, but I feel like he's based in Chicago. Mr. Skin seems like someone who would live in Chicago.
Fuck, I wrote this guy's name down, but I fucked up. All right, so there's a guy who was like a bit part character in My Little Pony. So basically, here's how crazy bronies are. It's like if you were involved in this show at all, if you were a fucking grip on the show, you now have followers. They'll find you, they'll fucking follow you and just be your fan and just like thank you for helping make this thing that I love, right?
It's
So
like
there's a
it's
guy
like
who does a bit voice on one of the episodes. He was also a dude in Star Trek. So
oh god.
basically he finds out about bronies and he's like super cynical about fandom and all that shit. So he starts making a My Little Pony documentary, and it's made basically he makes this documentary about bronies and he wants to sell it back to bronies. So he has a Kickstarter for it, and as soon as they have the first cut of it, it just gets pirated and it's immediately free to everybody because you're dealing with like something that started on 4chan. Like these people know how to get free things. So, but the word justice that comes back in is it's a couple people or representations were made that basically this guy was a fucking dick and he was just a fucking asshole and he hated bronies and hated Trekkies and just thought they were fucking scum of the earth. So at least he lost a bunch of money.
It's very interesting, these types of fandoms or sort of groupings, in that any sort of poser fake behavior does get sniffed out, in that they're so weird and going for it for so long that it's like, yeah, okay, part-timer. When you are going to the Toledo half con, where it's just me and my friends because we live in Toledo, hanging out at a Ramada's parking lot. Yeah, I thought you. But it just goes to any of these internet trends in the end always cynically turn towards grifterism, because it's sort of this thing of like, because it in the end, yes, these are people that found cause in the positivity of Bronydom, but in the end, Bronydom was a fake prank invented by some nerds on a website. So like, it's like a house has no foundation, not to use a crappy, stupid metaphor, but I'm going to.
Do
It's
it.
this always sort of cave into grifterism and perversion, because there's like an empty, nature abhors a vacuum. So if there's no foundations, then people that are literally like, yeah, I'm into grifting. I mean, bonies, or literally like, can we jack? Because we're gonna jack. Let's jack to this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so John Delancey is the guy's name, and it was originally made it, and basically the thing that exists now on the internet is the first cut of it because it got pirated so much. He was like, no one's gonna fucking buy this. Fuck this.
Let me ask you this: does John Delancey feel that the first cut is the deepest?
That's pretty good. No, he probably feels that I was gonna make all this money off these fucking incels, and now I can't even fucking make money. There's a brony dating site still up right now called Brony Mate. It's obviously a scam. If you guys want to get scammed, go to it.
You know what I think about almost every day? When we started comedy, the guy who yelled at us a lot, his nephew went on to fund AshleyMadison.com.
Well,
Like,
yes, he also he burped out loud in a lot of cars. He was good because you could just yell at him.
he was good because he once made a man stop at every Tim Hortons between Ottawa and Toronto to see if they had different flavors of bagels, and he treated. So, bro, bro, Dylan, let me ask you a question.
That's not. I've not all of them.
For me,
There's no way it's all of them.
I don't think if we stopped 7 times, I don't think we.
Okay, seven. Seven is actually, I think, no, that's even less than they recommend in the driver's manual. That's even excessive towards being a safe driver. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, the Canadian say the Canadian rules. Canadian has such a like. Well, this is technically speaking the most accurate way to do this. In the idea that like in Canadian young drivers, they tell you to stop 4 car lengths before a stop sign in case there's a runaway truck behind you. Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Wonderful, wonderful stuff. The show stops in 2019.
So what?
And
Stop. Do viewers COVID? Is it COVID?
why did it stop? Because it, like I said, it's like, okay, we once again relating this back to wrestling. Wrestling is now professional wrestling. If you don't like it, is now pretty much just for wrestling fans. The barrier to entry is quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with My Little Pony. Is it started out as a children's show with a nod to adults, and then it just straight up became for adults in this really weird way.
Hey,
And
what's going on with this cartoon? Do you jack off to these cartoons? No? Then I'm not explaining this to you.
yeah. Hey, Sparkle seems to have a lot of opinions about stand your own ground laws. You know, like the fuck are you doing? So anyway, now they have a movie. And there's some stuff on Netflix. Like I think Netflix commissioned some shit for My Little Pony, which makes sense. Bronies as a thing are kind of done. A lot of them went on to join hate groups,
Which
as I mentioned. And jack your way into that hate group, baby. This is obviously from Jennifer Nicholson. Anyway, and then another one was most of the fandom now is just straight up gay furries, and gay furries do not care about being made fun of because not only are they in a suit, you can't see their face, but also they are furries. They are veterans in being made fun of.
it is amazing to me that furries and bronies are two different groups.
The
And
furries came in,
of course,
so it was like because there was two warring parts of Brodies. There was like one people were like,
or I'm gonna
no, I
be
like it when they're not like horses. And then another one was like, I like it when they are horses. And then they fought for supremacy. And the people who liked how human the faces were started jacking off to other things. And then the people who liked that they were horses dress up like horses and I assume bang.
Dylan. I'm gonna fight you. This is the great. I love
How
humanity.
old are these characters? I don't know.
41
I
years old.
I didn't want to look up. I'm gonna say that they're all 41 for our sanity. I didn't want to look that up because
No.
if I looked that up and I found out that they were all like 10, then we just have, and you're saying 10,000 people showed up to something, that means 7,000 people should be put in jail minimum.
Hmm. Oh God. Here's the thing that everything. Here's the problem with the internet. No matter how good and wholesome it seems, eventually you're just
Someone's
like,
going to jack off to it.
not only is someone going to jack off to it, eventually it just becomes a right wing power cult. Like it
That's
just
so funny.
time. Like it's literally like it's doorways you go through. Here's the thing: we put it on the internet. It's going fine. It's going good. Membership is growing. Membership is growing. It's now people are jacking off to it. Oh God, jacking
This is
off.
just a word puzzle. I really like it. It's called a Sudoku. Oh wow, a lot of people do it. Why are people jacking off to it? No, Sudoku shouldn't lead the fucking totalitarian society. Sudoku, a Sudoku puzzle has taken over us, and we must all praise the Sudoku.
I do not like that you are fucking talking to me about Sudoku in any other way except for praise of Sudoku, even though I've never done a Sudoku. That's who I am.
I like it when the Sudoku has no sixes, and you like it when it has all sixes. So now we have to fight to the death.
Yeah.
Yes, the internet, where people take things too goddamn seriously because they don't want to go for a goddamn jog. Go for a fucking jog.
Yeah,
I
guys.
jog, I just still look bad.
Yeah. Here's the thing that take away from
Here's the
this.
thing, other thing, people don't work out because they're afraid of looking bad still. And I've achieved that, and it's still better when you exercise, but you still look bad.
I both Dylan and I are fanatics. I exercise all the time. We don't look good. Like
No, I look bad.
I'm one of those people that you have to touch my body, and then people go, "You work out?" Because it's either they're like, "I just touched his body." Either this guy works out, or he's all tumors. Which one do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, exactly. I got long skin and it's not going anywhere.
This was right. Here's the thing: is you know what Dylan and I did? We lived in our teens and 20s. We looked at
Mm.
snacks, and we just went, "Guess what that is? That's meal 4, 5, and 6." We doubled up meals.
Yum 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 into my tum tum tum. So honestly, I would say my final word on bronies is that the people who jack off to this, I do kink shame, and you should feel shame. The people who don't and just want to be friends, that's nice. To the children who like this and got bullied by a real adult, that was the other thing. Is much like wrestling, real adults were bullying children for not knowing the lore. If
I
I ever found out that someone, never more confidence in my life, if I ever found out that someone was bullying my son for not knowing the lore, I would say, hey, son, do you want to watch a guy get swirlied in his own blood? And then I would fucking swirly. I would fucking slit him from ear to ear and swirly him in his own blood. And then I would show up to his parents' house and say, you raised one meat pile. And then I would dump the body on their fucking front porch.
the thing with Dylan that is pretty impressive and pretty amazing is he's not capable of low level violence. It's either a handshake or he's handing your mother a piece of your body, and that's what's good about him.
That is what you're supposed to do when you're a Caucasian male. You store it all up. Where
You
does
order,
it go? It goes to the stroke when you're 72. That's where it goes.
I'll tell you where it
Oh, it
goes.
just goes up here. It's all up here.
A full, you're like me, you're in a full ride in an airplane and someone delayed and you haven't slept in 36 hours. So you do, you fall asleep, but with so much gas in your body, your actual own farts wake you up on an airplane and people have moved seats away from you
That's
and
funny.
happier more. I've never been happier in my entire life. That happened on the way back from Edinburgh today. I don't need to be part of a community anymore. I affected 12 people's lives. They will never forget me. Backdoor bandit. Call me the backdoor bandit, Dylan.
Yeah, I remember me and my friend did a show one time and he was having a series of panic attacks because this girl he was seeing wasn't responding to his messages. It was completely understandable, seeing as how we were in Amsterdam and she was in Los Angeles and she was very much asleep. And he was having a panic attack, and I just kept on fucking ripping a big beer farts. So not only was he having a panic attack, it was pretty impressive that he could still have a panic attack and not just be snapped out of it by the fact that he was smelling. I was gonna say something that smelled like a sewage line had burst.
Here's the thing with Dylan is he was a binge drinker and
Binge.
we also really got up to some nonsense in the food department after a couple of cocktails. So that sewage pipe, that's a real mixed
And I
bag.
have a bad stomach to begin with.
Oh, absolutely. You need to take much better care of yourself. And my word.
Anyway, that's it. We're bronies now. If you're a brony and you're listening to this, or you were a brony, congratulations.
Welcome to the
If
bro.
you joined a hate group because of being a brony, honestly, I want to say congratulations on just being fucking one of the worst people that's ever graced this fucking earth.
Who's could agree more with that? Who's your favorite for Trump group? I think mine is Grateful Dead fans for Trump.
That's crazy.
They're in their Reddit and it's the best. They're like went to a Trump rally, smoked DMT. Imagine smoking DMT at a Trump rally. Go fuck yourself.
This is the thing about the internet, though. You can get 1,000 people that cross sections on interests of anything. So, yeah.
I mean, can you though?
Okay, think of another thing, and I'll try and think of a cross section.
Brony / Minnesota Vikings fan.
Easy.
I don't think so. I don't specifically Minnesota Vikings. I disagree.
1 second. I'm going to
Chicago Bears. Yes, I think Chicago's one. And I didn't mean. I know that's your team, and now you're going to take deep offense to it because off air you were like, hey, let me say one thing about Bronies. They better not fucking like my NFL team. No way is there Minnesota Vikings Bronies. Do we have it?
When every pony is questioning Pinkie Pie about cheering for the Minnesota Vikings when she was supposed to cheer for the Detroit Lions, this is brony fan fiction written by someone in Ann Arbor about
Wait, but
Vikings fan.
in Michigan,
I literally Googled Minnesota Vikings bronies, and now there's something. There you go.
Best
Secrets. Bronies unite. 577 views. Okay. All right. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth link down when I Googled Minnesota Vikings bronies was today on neo-Nazi hunting expeditions. So there you go.
I just say this right now. I'm not part of the brony subculture, but I love it.
Oh man, I'm really excited to edit that around to make it seem like. Listen, I'm not trying to bully brony. You guys have been bullied enough.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm part of a weird thing too. We're all part. That's something the internet should have taught us all, is that we're all fucking weird. And
if you put in pro wrestling Minnesota Vikings, the fifth thing down is not going to be this weekend neo Nazis or whatever.
Right. It'll just be all about Brock Lesnar. But anyway,
Exactly. It'll just be talking in code. Here's Brock Lesnar just talking about books you should read.
what are we doing next?
John.
We just did a bit. I think we should do, in honor of our God King, I think we should do Donald Trump versus Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh my God, yes. Here's why I want to talk about Donald Trump versus Rosie O'Donnell is it really got me. Here's a preview, got me through the pandemic because Rosie O'Donnell became pandemic pen pals with Donald Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen.
Oh.
Had dealings with during their initial feud.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, I mean, this is interesting because it's like it's the World War I of Donald Trump running for president, I believe.
So much.
Not even the Spanish War. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a border skirmish on Alsace-Lorraine of the Donald Trump saga. Other things that will be coming up, by the way, we will be doing the Logan Paul, Jake Paul argument that they recently had on their podcast. That is insane. I also say we're going to do the hamster dance episode. But let me say this to everyone listening right now: come find us next week, where we will be discussing
Donald Trump versus Rosie O'Donnell.